So we are live. Hi, everyone. So we are definitely going to be trying this more often. I want to get to a place where I'm doing a live every single week on Twitter and discussing like hot topics or things that have to do with dating or relationships, also marriage. So I'm going to be handing it over to my brother, Aaron. He's going to be doing the hosting, and we're going to be talking about why women like bad boys.
Okay, first of all, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it is.
Great to be on your live stream here. We're doing so much. Gia has been in the fitness industry for a really long time and modeling forever. So Gia's been in the industry forever. It's fitness at a really young age. I think you started at 8.
In the gym.
Yeah.
Yep, in the gym at 8.
And then that led to modeling, social media, and, being married for as long as she is. I also find her to be a huge value with relationships because you've been married for how many years?
We stopped counting, but like 2 decades.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
People, it's a long time. Okay. So if anybody's going to be talking about relationships, a ton of insight here, which is fantastic. But she gets to come from a position of being on different sides of the fence with social media and seeing things and trends and whatnot, and it really works well with what we're doing. I'm over here. I've been in the fitness industry since I started competing when I was 19, started working out when I was 12. But, back then when you got in the fitness industry, it was just because you like working out, you want to be in shape, you want to do these things. And now social media is such a big component of it. It has just really ratified our lives in so many different ways. So, I have my book, The Supernatural Lifestyle, where I talk about exactly what your food choices are, how to group them together, and when to eat them. And so that has been a foundation for my success. Having a great career in bodybuilding, for years and years, competing in the NPC, in the Super League, got a pro status there, and now doing movies and things like that. You guys maybe have seen me as Juggernaut in Deadpool Wolverine, but also worked with Ryan in Free Guy, which is a lot of fun. And those are things that I'm still doing. I kind of just want to preface that because there's a lot of you guys out there on Gia's feed that don't know who I am. So there it is. But the point of this...
But he's just my brother, even though he does some pretty cool things.
Yeah, and the point of this live stream today and feed and this podcast that we're doing all at the same time is to kind of really just talk about some things that I think everybody is kind of talking about these days, and we're going to share some perspectives that I think will add a little bit of value to the way that you look at things and the way to move forward in the future. So having said that, why do girls like bad boys, Gia?
Yeah, it's quite a topic. It's gonna lead us down into a little bit of a rabbit hole too. All right, so basically there is a viral video going on Twitter right now of an OnlyFans model who said that she makes $80 million from being on OnlyFans. So I am stop the cap. We need to really educate, especially younger women, that all this is lies. And I know this firsthand being in the modeling industry, that right now, all these videos coming out with OnlyFans models saying that they are making several millions of dollars. It is all based off of a pyramid system. Also, they're not making that, okay? And there's no way to really regulate it. There's no way to go in because OnlyFans is an independently run company. So you cannot go and actually pull real stats. You have to go by what the girls are saying and what the company tells you, which they need to do a constant recruitment, okay? There's a huge turnaround on that app and people do not stay. So they constantly need girls. And if you can convince a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old that they're going to make $80 million, why wouldn't they do it, right? It's financial freedom. And it's actually pretty messed up because they're not making that. Now, granted, they are making a lot of money. I'm not taking that away from them. There's a very small percentage of them that are actually making money.
Hold on. This girl right here says she made $80 million. Right. Mm-hmm. This one right here?
Right, yes.
This girl?
Yes. So I really need to help you guys understand that this is a ploy. This is a ploy to recruit you, to bring you in, to get you into something that you can't come back from once you start. There's a huge stigma around it. It does not leave you on the internet. Once on the internet, always on the internet, okay?
Forever.
You know, so I need you to understand that the ones that are actually making money, which is a very, very small percentage, they're not even making that. Now they're making a lot, but they're still not making that. And what they're actually making money from is it's several things. It's not just selling content. And trust me, it's not just selling bikini pictures, okay? I know this because I sell bikini pictures, so I know the truth behind it. What they're doing is they're creating a pyramid system, they're making a percentage off the girls, and then they need to constantly bring in new girls and make percentages off of that. So they're going to tell you whatever they need to bring you in, to sign you up. And I think that there's a bigger root issue here, because if we can get all the young girls to be seen in one way, right? And what we're doing is we're normalizing that all women, men need to want women who are doing this. This is like normal. They're normalizing, it's just very, very dangerous, I think.
I mean, let's be honest, okay? Like, there are a few people out there that are going to use OnlyFans. They have some bikini photos.
Yeah, you can do that, yeah.
Maybe
but you're not going to make gas money.
Yeah, and some type of career or whatever that's not porn.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's what it is. And there's repercussions with that. It's just what has happened is we're just calling it something different.
Well, we're calling it OnlyFans modeling, which it's not. It's prostitution. It's porn. That's exactly what it is. And I think that people just need to like see it for what it is. And if they make that decision past that, then that's on them. But if we keep telling women that it's just modeling, it's just looking good, or, you know, it's not, that's not how it starts. It always kind of creeps into, because after all, people are getting into it for money. That's why they're starting it.
Yeah, this $80 million though bit, like there's no way there's a person out there. I mean, what is that? Divide that by 12. It's how many millions a month? Like,
right. And this gets into the bad boy topic, right? Because like what we're doing is we're getting women to become slaves to their emotions. They're getting to the point where it's like the high, the instant gratification, the fun, always wanting fun. This is very, very dangerous long-term, because that is not what long-term relationships are built off. That's not what marriages are built off. You know, there's going to be years that are going to be considered boring, right? Predictable. As a wife, you know, most of my time is spent cooking, cleaning, staying at home, not traveling. You know, you see the highlights on social media, but that's not really the real, right? That you're seeing the highest highlights.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we were talking earlier. It's like, I think that we're kind of glorifying the wrong thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Social media is a big...
Yeah, we glorify promiscuity, and then we're wondering why women would prefer to be whores than to be virtuous women.
Well, yeah, and then we had the conversation of like, okay, so for the longest time, you know, a lot of girls would be like dancers.
Right.
And they, you know, do that. And then now there's like OnlyFans strippers. So it's like, so there's the girls. Which
is better, strippers or OnlyFans girls?
Yeah,
right?
That's a question. What do you guys think? I mean, asking you, what do you think is the lesser of two evils? Like, what do you think is better? Because like, you know, I have to say, like, okay, when it comes
to... A stripper, you know, you go to work, you might be around men, but your content isn't being on social media for the rest of your life. Well, it's not stuck online.
That's the benefit. So on one hand, you know, there's contact with people, you know, but on the other hand, when you're done with that, you leave it behind, you know. But
do you really think that strippers are just stripping? They're not. They're also doing an OnlyFans.
That's not true.
They're not?
No, because I think, I mean, I've talked to some different ladies, you know, of the night, and you know, a lot of them, they don't want to cross that barrier because they have decided that they're okay with this. So I don't think it means that if a girl is stripping, she's doing OnlyFans and porn and tricks and all that. Like, they're not. It's not all. I think women decide, like, I'm willing to do this.
Right.
Like there's a lot of women that will go like an hour out of their way to go somewhere and dance, and they do this, and they come back and they try to live a normal life.
Okay.
The last thing they would want is something on the internet that's following them around. Okay. You know what I mean? So there's types of girls, you know, and I can totally understand, you know, that.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions.
Yeah, what kind of questions? You got anything good?
Pull that one. And bad boys possess a dominant masculine presence. Well, okay, so let's talk about this. So there are some men who have realized that, especially in dating, right? So dating and being in the relationship, like when you're in a committed relationship, it's going to be a little bit different than in the dating process. In the dating process, there's going to be a little bit of a chess game, right? She's going to be fighting for dominance, then he's going to be fighting for dominance. So it's very important in the beginning, for a man to really make sure he's in frame. He is the dominant one, or he is the one in charge, he's the one leading. Because if not, then it's going to set the tone for the rest of the relationship. And I think that like a man, especially masculine men, they understand that they have to keep that little bit of, they know when to be an asshole and they know when not to be. And I think that women like that, and that's why bad boys do kind of pull the strings, because she is a slave to her emotions. In general, women are a slave to their emotions. They don't necessarily understand the difference between emotions and facts, and that usually comes with time and with experience and wisdom. But in the beginning of the relationship, when they're young, their feelings take over. So like, if they're upset, the whole entire household's upset. Like everybody in the house, like the guy is going to experience that, right? What's the saying? Yeah. She makes it if the house isn't happy or whatever. Happy wife, happy life. This is all emotion-driven women who are slaves to their emotions. And unfortunately they are. And some men, masculine men who've had experience with women, they know, okay, when to turn it on and when to turn off. And sometimes that is why they win. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at some comments here. Somebody said that they're like, this guy posts thirst traps all day long. He's judging strippers. How was I judging? How was I judging anybody here?
You're going to get a lot of comments. Like people are always going to, when you have a large following, you are going to get people who comprehend things that are either like completely inaccurate or
well, the thing that I've also learned, you're right, and the thing that I've learned is apparently the average IQ of a human is 100. And just to give you a scale, there's you guys remember the gorilla that could sign language? Her name was Ruby. Yeah. They estimated her, IQ about 80. So if the average is 100, there's people out here that are commenting and voting and working that have an IQ below a gorilla. So, you know what I mean? So when I see some of these comments or whatnot, you know what I mean? I just take it with a grain of salt because at the end of the day, this is our factual numbers.
Here's the thing. So people need to understand that when we are talking about certain topics, we're talking about what is. We're not talking about what should be, okay? There's a lot of people that were raised on certain ideologies, beliefs, religions, whatnot. They've been indoctrinated into believing what should be. And while ideally we would love the world to be perfect and us to sit around a fire and sing Kumbaya, it's not really realistic, okay? We are not sitting around a fire singing Kumbaya. We are in a world that is very dark, and people all are going to do what they want to do. And we have to talk about it and be able to discuss it as is and how it affects the rest of the world.
Put this comment up here. It says, surely it comes back to 1,000 years ago. You needed to be a bad boy to be able to signal your ability to keep a family safe, protected, and fed. That wiring is still there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with it. Us as women, we don't want a man who is easily influenced, who's going to be overly accommodating,
How come?
Because what it tells us is that you don't have a mind of your own. You're going to want to please people. We don't want somebody who's going to please the world. We want somebody who's going to please us, right? But and within reason, right? We want somebody who's going to be willing to tell us, hey, no. This is not good for us as a union. This might be good for you because that's why you want it, but this isn't good for us. And I think if men lead from a place that is good for not just them, but her as well, women are going to be attracted to that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, like everyone loves to come out here and act like, oh, women are like, I'm a boss babe or I'm a boss bitch and I don't need a man and all this. Like, you need men. Like, we run the world. We've created the world. This is what it is. The only reason women have rights is because men gave women rights. Like, if we just decided, like, I have to have this conversation. I've been talking to my friends about for a little bit. If all of men got together and we just decided, you know what? I think women would be better off in cages. And all of us men just decide we're going to put all the women in cages. You know, that would be a war that we could win within a week. I mean, we could literally, the hardest part would just be finding them. You know what I mean? And we'd round them all up. We'd stick you all in cages. And then what? And then what? You know, here's what I thought. If you leave them in there long enough. Here's the deal. You leave them in there long enough. You know, the dynamic that nobody sees coming is I think eventually they would like the cage. I think women, they don't have to think. They can turn their brain off, which I hear all the time. Women hang out with me. I love hanging out with you. You guys turn my brain off. Number two, like, you don't have to make any decisions. Decisions are made for you. Number three, you're going to be safe. You're very safe in there. You don't have to worry about getting hurt. You know, everything's been provided for. You don't have to worry. And then, like, you know, hell, if we just gave you a cell phone, that'd be it.
Take away the options, take away the choices, no overthinking. It's
Boom.
simple. Yeah.
You know, and so I only bring this up. I know it might sound horrible, but like at the end of the day, that's what would happen. Like, you know, I don't think that the Western woman realizes like how much men have done everything, you know, and this is where a lot of the problem is, I think, in relationships, is because guys are real simple. We like to work hard. We like to provide. We like to do these things and take care of
If it's the right woman, men do love to provide.
But here's the thing. We also like to be appreciated.
Yeah.
We like to hear, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, wow, I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. You know, and then it's like, you know, but what we don't want to hear is like, oh, I don't need a man. I can do this. I can do that. Okay, fix your car.
Tell him about the recent girl that you've been dating. My brother's always like, I can't keep up with all the girls. He's with 5 or 6 at a time. So
listen here.
I can't keep up. But let's talk about the recent girl.
I don't know if we're going to talk. I don't know if we're going to talk about any of this.
Tell him about the one that she was saying, thank you, I appreciate you.
Okay, well, there's a girl that says thank you and I appreciate you, and I'm just fucking like...
For everything you do.
Makes me like her so much. Because I'm like, whoa, not used to hearing that. Yeah. You know, it's usually never enough, you know? Oh, you know, like, I need my hair, my nails done. I need this. I want to go on a trip. I want to buy me that. What about this dress? We go to dinner. It's the most expensive shit on the dinner. Or it's like, you know, what place do you want to eat tonight? Well, she just picks the most expensive shit. We're going to go there. And it's never like, man, thank you so much for what you do. It's like, oh, I'm so hot. I deserve it. And it's like, you get to a point, you're like, bitch, you ain't that hot. Like
no one is that hot.
At some point, I'm like, there's a girl that's going to provide this for less.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, you know, and here's the thing. The fortunate situation for me versus a lot of other guys you could be talking to in here is I'm coming from a place where like the rules are a little different for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to make a list why, but let me just say that like, I don't know what it's like to be an average person. I don't know what that's like. And my heart goes out to some of those average guys that just work hard and they want to, you know, try to do the best they can for a girl and make it happen. And then those women never appreciate that guy.
Yeah.
You know, because maybe he doesn't provide enough status. I saw an Andrew Tate clip a while back where he was reacting to a video and they asked these women, would you rather be the wife of a peasant or the mistress to a king? Yeah. And they were all like, mistress to a king.
Yeah. Yeah. Women would rather be a side chick than to a loyal loser, basically, in their minds. It's crazy. I mean, the other day, it was funny because me and my husband, like, we don't go out too much. Like, we're one of these people that we love to chill at home. I'm like cool with a movie at home. I'm a homebody. But the other day we went out and the lady who sat us where the restaurant, like the table, she sat us in this like inside area, and I saw like the outside. Women love ambiance, right? So I was like, oh, I would love to sit by the water. You know, she's like, no, sorry, we're packed. And I was like, can we just sit here on this table for now until maybe another table comes free? She's like, no, we can't do that. We'd have to, you know, have you sit in the front and wait till it's available. And my husband just turns to me and says, do you want to sit outside? I said, yeah, I would love to. He's like, and he hands her money and he goes, go get us a table outside. And I was just like, this is why I married this man. Like, it was like, oh my God, you know, like simple little things. Like women love when a man just gets shit done. You know? It just, and people just do as they act.
Because that's what we're good at. That's what we're good at. That's where we kick ass. You know, it's like, you know, for a man, we have to be a force. Usually, it's either be really physical or be, you know, really financially powerful. Those are the two things. Like with women, you know, it's typically like to be pretty and persuasive. You know, those are kind of the two. You know, and when they go together great. You know what I mean? But when you got one side
pleasantly persuasive.
That's the thing. If you got like a female that's trying to compete with you, this is what like a lot of girls don't understand. Like I listen to women say like, "Oh, I'm a boss bitch. I make my own money. I do this. I'm that." I'm like, I've been doing that since I was 17. You want a fucking cookie? You want a little trophy that you can pay your own bills? Like, you know, like nobody wants to hear this shit. And then like, you know, then it becomes their entire identity. Well, I don't need a man for this and that. I only need him. But well, guess what? I don't need you at all. I would just rather have a hot, you know, young, grateful girl than some fucking bitter chick that's over 30 trying to tell me how awesome she is in her career and doesn't need a man and is like emotionally unavailable and doesn't want to cook and clean and loves her fucking dog. Just, I'm a dog fucking mommy. I'm a fucking dog mom. You know, like literally, like you get, like us dudes, like get tired. It's like a sequence. I could literally break it down like girls from like, you know, 18, 19, 20 to like, you know, 50, you know, if they're single. I could break it down exactly their behavioral patterns all the way, you know, because I will say this, girls in the early 20s typically want me to spend all my money on them, okay? The single women in their 30s want to help me make money, so I spend it on them. Because guess what? Less people are spending money on them. You know what I mean? So they're like, well, if I help him make money, you know, this whole dynamic changes, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, I mean, you know, you ladies can just say, oh, I can, you know, I can do it and I can make all this money and do all that. Like, how many billionaires are self-made that are female?
Yeah.
There's one.
Yeah.
All the other ones got there from divorcing a dude.
They get it from, exactly.
You know, and I'm not, and this is not my way to like try to bash women or put them down or put them in a spot. But like, you know, it's funny because you hear regular women repeating stuff they heard on the fucking internet.
Right.
Like they think it applies to them in their relationship.
We have to remember that like, while this is the examples that are being highlighted in the media, yes, there are good, loyal women who stay at home and still look beautiful and take care of their husbands, but they're just not the ones being pushed in the media because we are living in a generation or a society. Like right now, the air on social media is, let me find the worst example to basically prove why I'm better than you. Like that's the in thing in social media.
Man.
And I think that over time, like I've seen the waves come because I started in 2010. So I've seen the trends come and go, but right now that's where we are. So I think we're going to get to the point where people get tired of that and they're going to want to start seeing more, you know, people that lead by example. Like I already see the changes. They want to see authentic. That's why these live streams are like so, like they're the in thing right now because people don't want to see fabricated photos, fabricated production videos.
Yeah, you're right.
People want to know the real person. And we're getting tired of that, you know, that whole fake.
I agree. You know, that you're right. Things go in trends and people, I think, I want authenticity.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, we really got to find the balance because, you know, when men are always going to love beauty, youth and beauty, that is something that is, you know, it's just instinctively, it's biology.
And women are always going to love being taken care of.
And women are always going to want stability and security and status. You know, it is what it is. It's not that those things are bad. It's that there has to be a balance somewhere in there. Just like a woman cannot simply just exist by beauty. Like a man can find her beautiful, but if she can't offer anything else besides that, it's not going to hold the relationship for any length of time, right? So she can have beauty, but at the same time, value the important things that a man needs in the home and not want to be everywhere all the time, not get into the, you know, unrealistic, unsustainable expectations of the world, stay at home, cook for her husband, but still be his own personal porn star. I mean, he's not going to leave you. Like that's what he wants, you know? Yeah.
And I think that it's easy to go on the internet and think that like everybody just wants to be single and it's really bad and it's horrible dating, the whole thing. But like, you know, at the end of the day, like there's people out there, they're good people. And, you know, I think that the problem with social media is it just creates all these options. And I think with too many options, it just paralyzes people, but also the illusion of options.
Right.
So it's like, you know, yeah, women, you know, where women kind of weaponize their social media all the time in relationships. This is like a thing. They could be maybe not feeling pretty, or maybe their guy was talking to a girl, the checker at the grocery store, and laughed a little too much or some shit. And then she's pissed off, posted a bikini photo and stuff like, you know, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna like that. And then all these dudes are like, oh, you're
about that. Yeah.
And it's like, but there are women out there that don't do that.
Yeah,
they exist. They exist.
Let's talk about that. So I saw a tweet the other day. It said that women love to be sexualized. They want to be sexualized. Okay. And what's funny to me about Twitter is that you can see a tweet, and if you just take the sentence itself, it is correct, but it's short-sighted, right? It's missing context. So when we look at the fact that our world glamorizes promiscuity, it glamorizes sex. If you see everything that is viral, it's always the woman in glamorous places, in these shiny, flashy outfits. You know, this is what's shown. You're not going to see the woman in her kitchen with her hair up, no makeup on, in baggy sweats, which is something I do, yes, all women do, but that's not what goes viral on social media. So here we are basically teaching women that the virtuous woman is not something that anybody wants. We're teaching women that we want the shiny, flashy woman in the crazy Ferrari out at the club. So we are glamorizing it. And yes, women want to be desired. That's like saying water is wet. And men want to be desired. That's like saying what, you know, like it's natural for somebody to want to be desired, and men are not going to want a woman who is not sexually pleasing. Like, so, but let's not sit here and try to say that women only want to be sexualized. Women want to be desired. They want, and in order to get to be desired, they're following the trends. They're going with what they're seeing. So I think that needs to be cleared up and clarified, you know?
Yeah, and if at the end of the day, it's because social media means socially.
Right.
Everybody's trying to have this lifestyle that is being portrayed constantly.
Yeah, they're comparing.
You know, guys, you know, we want more money, you know, we want the house, the boat, the cars, the girls, you know, we want those things. And the girls are like, yeah, I want the trips, the handbags, you know, the whatever, the guy, the makeup, whatever, you know, and it's like, it's because it's this social lifestyle that's kind of being projected. And I think that...
Yeah, what did you say to me the other day? You said women have a biological clock and men have a financial clock, right?
Yeah.
So women are naturally going to use their looks when they have it, right? To get where they need to get. And they have to do it quicker because their time runs out much sooner than a man who has a financial clock and can basically have almost his whole life to accomplish what
you know, and here's the dynamic that I wish women could see that us guys see. Like, you get a girl in her early 20s, carefree, she's happy, she's hot, she's got it all going for her. You know, she ain't picking no guy to settle with, got too many options. So she's just gonna just run from one guy to the next. Boom, 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 you know. As soon as that girl turns 30,
those options die.
And the options turn down because those same guys, or maybe guys like him, or, you know, whatever, are looking at, like, now maybe the girls that are early 20s, they're still, and now that girl realizes, holy shit, I'm not as desirable. So now they have this like whole like life transformation, and now they go like, you know, well, and then all of a sudden they get a fucking personality. All of a sudden they start being nice. All of a sudden they try to add value to a man. So really at the end of the day, most of these women that do that and go through that would have never changed if they didn't have to.
Right.
But now that they have to, they're like, oh my God. And the thing is, like, it's fucked up. It's like you take an 18-year-old guy, zero value. There ain't no dudes being like, yeah, come on my yacht. Let's have some fun. I'll take you all over the world, you know? But an 18-year-old girl that's hot, that can happen, you know? As a man goes, by the time he gets to his 30s, he starts figuring out what he is. I feel like guys' prime starts at 38.
Yeah,
and so it's like 20 years later. So now what happens? So now this guy, they couldn't get the chicks because she was off running off with the rich guys doing all this stuff. Now this guy is going to be like, I want to get these younger girls that I wanted then. And then the girls that are his age are like, oh, you need a girl your age. No, you had your fun, bitch. You literally just fucking went out there and just like did whatever the fuck you wanted to do. And now that you can't, you think you're going to talk me into not doing it when I can't. You know, like, no, that's not how this is going to work. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to go get what I can get now. And then this is what happens. Then you start realizing, okay, as a man, we get to a spot where inherently, when a man does really well, the first thing we want to do is provide, and we start thinking about a family and a legacy and the whole thing, kids, the whole deal. When women make a lot of money, they just fucking get selfish.
Yeah.
They're not wanting to go spend a bunch of money on a dude or a family. So it's like, why would we ever care if a woman makes money or not? Like, why would we ever give a shit? Because at the end of the day, like, inside, deep down in the wiring, she doesn't want to provide. She wants to protect herself.
Right.
So us dudes,
self-preservation.
So at the end of the day, it's like, you know, okay, we're going to kick ass. We're going to make money. We're going to do these things. Now we're going to have a legacy and a family. Well, now we have to pick somebody that we feel like can give us those things.
Right.
And so, like, think about it. If you're 40 and you're now crushing it.
We talked about this.
Are you going to grab a 40-year-old girl to try to have 5 babies with?
Not
no,
just that, but like at that age, she's like, I got to have kids now. I got, the clock is ticking, You know, like a man wants to be able to get into a relationship. Like I met my husband very, very young, you know, I was 20. Like I had several years with him to enjoy life and to just us before family came into the picture, you know, before kids. So I think like men want to be able to enjoy time with that woman. And if they're getting with somebody much later in life, she's pushing those boundaries and I got to get here. It's not organic. It's not natural. It's not genuine, you know? And
it's unfortunate, but it's like, it is what it is. Because like, think about it. If you meet this girl and she's 40 and she's beautiful, all right, and you're 40 some and you're thinking like, man, I want to have a bunch of babies. Well, it might take you a year or two to have the first one. You know, it might take longer. Yeah. And then after that, you're like, well, I want to try to have another one. It's like you start thinking, well, this is going to be more difficult than if I went with a younger girl, you know, and then like we could have, you know, all the babies I want and have the whole deal. And so it's crazy because like, I think that nowadays we're seeing that like a lot of younger girls have got it figured out to hang out with an older guy, but like they're not trying to stay there. They're just trying to use.
Because, okay, so let's talk about that. So like right now it's to the point where women have 4 or 5 guys at once because every single guy is serving a certain purpose. So they don't ever want to attach themselves or get into a point where they have to be exclusive with one. And I think technology really aided in this, right? Because now they can spin plates and they can get something.
Okay, so when, you know, to add to that, so what happens is you got these girls that are picking different guys for different things because they have all these options, and the guys that are picking are guys that are going to give them that. But for them, it's the bare minimum. So let's say I make $1 million a month. You know what I'm saying? I'm just crushing it, you know. And there's a girl that I think is, you know, super hot, but I know she's promiscuous or whatever. But, you know, I just want to kind of keep her on the roster. So I'll pay her rent. And she's like, okay, I got this guy that pays my rent. You know, I hang out with him a couple times a month. I'm there when he needs me.
And she's got the guy calling her to go travel.
And then she's got the guy traveling. And then she's got the hot guy or whatever at the gym that doesn't have shit. And he, you know, drives a fucking Prius and he's in great shape.
And that's why they always are going to be like, hell no to marriage. Because to them, that's like limiting all their options, you know?
And, you know, and the only way that changes is when they realize that these options have run out, and age is what does that for women.
Right.
And unfortunately, if they were smart enough to realize, wow, I really connect with this guy. He's able to provide me, you know, 75% of what I want, you know, and I think that we could go the distance. If they could think that in that moment, they'd be fine. But then what happens is they don't, and they get older and they fuck that relationship up. Then they hurry into another one. Then they say, I got to be married and have kids and all this. And then now they're in this scarcity mentality. And that energy just oozes off of women when they're doing that. And like us dudes are like, us dudes don't want to commit to shit until we see it as a value in our life. Because us guys, we're just so logical and rational about what we're doing. We're literally thinking like, I'm not going to commit to some hot chick that's crazy as fuck and is like an emotional
if she's
wreck.
making your life harder.
Yeah, no, I don't care how hot she is. Like, that's like, well, nobody wants that. You know what I mean? So it's like, but, you know, if you get with a girl and you're like, you know what? When I'm with her, she actually doesn't try to spend all my money. She actually is always talking to me about alternative things we can do.
She's got to make your life better, and she's got to like reduce your stress levels. And unless she does that, which I think is pretty simple, it's like common sense, but
it's pretty easy. But here's the, you have to care, because really, ladies, listen up. Like, if you want to have a man and have him like literally all over you and about you, you have to think forward about what he's going to do. You got to like know that, like, okay, he's got this big trip tomorrow. Let me help him get his clothes ready. Let me help him do this. When women start doing those things, we just can't help but feel like so like taken care of that we want to do more for her.
Well, there's a saying.
It's like we want to. And if you're a girl and you're doing that for a guy, because I know there's a lot of women out there saying, I did that for this guy. Well, you picked a fucking player, or you picked something that was like not even a real thing, and you know that it's not, and you're trying to tell yourself all the bullshit. Like, you got to pick a guy that like you actually have a connection with, and you have those real conversations. And I think one of the things that like, here's the other thing, I gotta say this. Like, women, all you bitches fucking lie to each other. You motherfuckers lie so much. You lie so much. Like, women lie more than anything I ever see. Like, this will happen. You'll walk through a fucking crowd and your friend will be with this fat bitch that looks like a goddamn hippopotamus in a fucking dress. You know what I mean? And you'll go over there and be like, look at her and think, man, she's fat. You look so good in that dress, girl.
I love your dress.
Dude, like, that is not helpful. Because now that chick thinks she looks great, when if you literally were just like, she fall off the diet or what's the deal?
Yeah.
You know, but I couldn't say that to her. Well, why? Because us dudes, we roll up. Like, my buddy was telling me, hey man, I'm trying to fucking squat. I think I'm gonna hit 455. And I'm like, nah, bro, we need to get you to 500 pounds. Well, nah, man. I mean, 455 is good. I don't think I'm built for it. I'm like, nah, you want to hit 5. No, I'm like, you do. I'm like, you do. Don't be a little bitch. Just get fucking tougher. You know you want to hit 5. Well, guess what? He just sent me a video saying he just hit 5.
Yeah.
So I actually did him a favor by being like,
getting it in his head
and being honest. And being honest. Like, let's be honest,
Well, that's why I don't have a lot of girlfriends, because
that is why you don't.
I am very, very blunt, and I come across, I don't sugarcoat stuff, and women are just like, they can't handle it. So
that's why you don't have a lot of girlfriends, because girls love to be lied to.
They ask me on Twitter all the time, like, do you hate, because sometimes I tweet about the truth, but sometimes it comes across like, I guess, that I hate women. It's not that I hate women. It's just that I'm saying the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. And women have not been very nice to me. I mean, over the years.
Yeah, sure, because you're beautiful. You have a presence.
Here's the thing, like,
and so you make them feel insecure. And so, like, it's a funny thing. Like, if they can't deal with you, then
here's the weird thing to me is, like, men will walk up to another guy in the gym and be like, dude, you look amazing. Like, what are you doing? But a woman can look at another woman and look at her up and down and scarf and walk off, or make something rude remark about her. If I see a beautiful woman, I'm going over and I'm telling her how gorgeous she is. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if the bitch is fucking fat and ugly and not a threat, yo, you're so pretty, girl.
Not
oh my God.
No.
Yeah.
But
like why do chicks do that?
Really
so it's like, if you're beautiful, they're like, fuck you. If you're ugly and fat, you're like.
Women operate off of self-preservation. So they're used to, for self-preservation, for survival, they've always had to kind of like make everybody around them feel good, because otherwise they were outcasted. Remember, they work in the collective. They don't work, women are not loners. By nature, they're not. I am. But I mean, by nature, they're not. I think like the best wives that I've ever met that have been married for 3 or more decades are usually very much loners themselves. They have to. They're in their homes, they take care of their husband, and that's how they operate,
Well, I mean, I guess I get that. I just think that it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Why can't girls just be honest with each other?
Because it's just not how, if they want to be in large groups they want everyone to look like them, to feel like them, to go through the same experiences like them. And if there's one person who's like, no, that's not right, then they're like, oh, okay, get out of my circle.
Okay. You had this conversation before. So I find myself shying away from the girls that are like the Nickelodeon kid. Oh, I'm so fucking, like, I'm so innocent. I'm this little angel, and act like they never fucking sucked a dick before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know that this sounds however it sounds, but at the end of the day, I can't play that fake shit. And so a lot of times the type of girls that I end up being able to relate to are ones that have a little bit
say
more
the quiet part out loud.
Of a rugged past.
They just say the quiet part out loud because they're not,
And maybe they went through some trauma, went through some shit, and they're real. And those are the ones that do these strippers and like fucking sex workers and all these things.
Here's the thing that we need to understand. Women that go into that type of industry have already said basically F it. Like, I'm not going to go with what society tells me that I need to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. So they tend to be individual thinkers, more so. And they're also at the point where they're already kind of outcasted, or they've already been on that side. So they just say whatever, because they're like, I don't care. No one likes me anyways. I'm doing what I want to do. So that's why you're getting that vibe. And
I prefer that. Even I'll take the bad with the good.
Yeah, I think men are okay with sluts as long as they're admitting they're sluts. They don't like the women who act like they're goody two shoes and then doing shit behind. Like this is what I get mad about. And I said a tweet the other day. I said, because somebody said, no, a wife who is with one man cannot be a whore. And I'm like, so what do you call all the women who married for money? They married a man for what they could get and then divorced him and took half of all his things. But those are the same women who will turn around and look at a prostitute like, trash.
Oh, very good. Good point. That is a good point. So you just went the acceptable route.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to trade
society told you, but you're still doing the same shit.
Yeah, I'm going to trade this for a ring and half of his shit.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to act like it was all his fault because I'm a woman and I don't take accountability and he was an asshole and he didn't do this and make me feel right and like the whole thing. And then other girls are like, yeah, you tell him, girl, you tell him. Yeah, he's a pile of shit. And it's like, wait a minute. Your broke ass had nothing going, and now you got all this money and all this set up, and you're still talking shit about this dude?
That's the thing. I think personally that these women don't like prostitutes or whatever because they lower the value of their sexual mark. So they make what they do lowered.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why I think it's competition for them. That's why they don't like it.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with morality. Like, let's get with the program. Like, I hate people who talk about, you have to dress modest, you have your cleavage out. What is modesty without dignity? I have seen women with fully on dressed up to here, but they're the biggest sluts in real life ever.
You sure?
They just hide it, you know?
And they're disrespectful.
Then I see me who will wear a bikini and I don't care. I'll go to a nude beach. I don't care. But yet, when you see me in public, I'm a lady. I'm not jumping on tables. I'm not getting drunk. I'm not acting vulgar.
That's the fucking thing.
Have dignity.
How a woman presents herself is everything. Like us dudes, like we don't want to hang with a chick that presents herself like some fucking raunchy fucking trailer trash slut.
Yeah, you have to know. Yeah.
We want a girl that can at least like present herself.
A lady in the streets and a freak in the bed.
That's literally, it's funny how it's actually a real thing.
But I mean, we have to be, I think as individuals, whether you're a man or a woman, we have to be good at multiple things. We cannot just be good at one thing. And I'll never understand that mindset of you can only do this, right? Like I get this all the time. Oh, you do fitness. Oh, you do modeling. Oh, what are you? You're doing all these things. So what? Isn't that a good thing to do multiple things? Why should I be stuck to one thing? Who said I need to be good at one thing? I can be good at multiple things.
Yeah, I was just trying to read some comment. Oh, here we go. This person says, just toxic femininity. Some girls will yes girl into diabetes and it's valid to call it out. That's okay. That's interesting. That's an interesting.
What's that one?
He's basically saying that like when women lie to each other, that's part of like toxic femininity. Because like this is a problem. You know, like what I don't understand is like, okay, so women lie to each other all the time, and then they want their man to lie to them.
Right.
But then they want him to be honest.
Right.
But then lie to me about how I look and make me feel a certain way. Like,
They're slaves to their emotions. That's what I keep saying.
Why can't women
because you
just take the truth? Why can't they take the truth?
Okay, so if any of you have ever looked at a brain scan between a man's head brain, between a woman's brain fires off emotion, then reason. Men run reason, then emotion. So when you are sitting here going, I don't understand why women do this, because they come across for feeling first, then reason last.
So it's okay to lie to them?
No. So that's why when a husband says to his wife the truth and she gets all freaking flustered and mad and she goes into her little girl tantrum, that's why a man needs to walk away, let her do whatever she wants to do, do not play into it, go do what you need to do, and she will come around and go, you know what, babe, I thought about it. And she understands that you are saying the truth. You're gonna have to let her have her little tantrum and walk away. That's what I say.
The good ones come around, but a lot of the other ones are just go tell their friends and find that toxic bitch named Cindy out there.
That's why
that's got 3 babies from 3 different men.
That's why they don't stay in a relationship.
Going, you deserve more than that,
Yeah. And that's why you see all these little crying videos on Twitter and all these women, they run to social media because they want the acceptance and the validation from strangers telling them that they're right and he was wrong.
Well, here's the other thing that's fucked up about chicks is chicks love to be like, he was abusive.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
No, and it's a lie. It's a lie.
Because we're at the point now where if you spank a child, that's abuse.
Oh, dude.
So if you were raised from a parent who believes spanking is abuse, then why are you not going to believe a husband who tells you the truth is abuse?
Here's the thing. Women just know they can say things and be convincing and get everybody on their team, so they'll do it. Women have, the big difference between men and women, the way we function in society, it comes down to respect. Mm-hmm. So with a man, I'm only going to say so many things derogatory to you if I'm really upset before I know it's either going to cause you to swing at me or we're going to fight.
Right.
And so there's a line.
Well, because they know that there's going to be accountability for what they do.
Okay, right. And so women
don't have that accountability.
Don't have it. And so they everything's fair game. So they'll lie about you, your family, what you've done, how you make your money. Like literally, I knew this girl, I'm not going to name names, but she was dating my buddy and he's a black guy. Okay. And I say that for this context. She was like, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, the whole deal, treating me like shit, trying to make me out to be some racist because I wasn't on board with the bullshit.
I remember that. And you were like, I'm not posting that freaking black sweater.
And then get this, they go through a fucking breakup and that bitch is out on the street going, he's a drug dealer, he's a fucking drug dealer, he's fucking selling crack and out in his neighborhood, at his house. And you know what? So it's like, okay, hold on. You're trying to send him on the bus. You're trying to get him on the bus, right, to go to fucking prison when and so it's like women, there is no bound for what they will do. You know what I mean? So, in my own mind, it's like when you deal with a woman and they start telling you all this shit, I don't believe nothing.
You can't go by what they say. You have to only go by what they do.
When you girls start telling me about your ex-dude and how fucked up he was, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I'll go like this. Oh, that sounds bad. Yeah, that sucks. He sounds like a real asshole.
Always go by their actions.
But in my own mind, I'm like, I don't fucking believe you at all. I'm like, who the fuck were you fucking? Who were you hanging out with? Like, what the fuck were you doing? What did you do to provoke that motherfucker? You know what I mean? How many times were you fucking passive aggressive, or how many times did you disrespect him?
I don't want to go off into another topic, but how many false rape accusations? Abuse accusations. I've spoken to plenty of police officers who told me that domestic abuse, that is provoked by her. She's the one pushing, she's the one poking the bear, she's the one in his face. And then when he all of a sudden pushes back or tries to leave, she bards him, she won't let him leave. Yeah. Well,
you nailed all that. You nailed it, sis. Yeah. Here's the thing too, this comes into the whole, there's no fucking such thing as equality. We're not fucking equal. We're not. Women that try to say we're not. Here's why. If I have a problem with a girl, the end result is not me punching her in the mouth. Because I know what that will do. It'll break her apart, But with a dude, that's the case. So, if you hit a chick, it's like, oh my God. And it's always going to be like that. You shouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So like, no, we're not equal, because if we were, then it would be the same, but it's not the same.
They want to select when it's good for them.
And that's
like,
the problem,
there was a tweet today, and there was a lady complaining on Twitter about how she was on a bus stop and all these girls were standing up while all these guys were sitting down. And she was so appalled. And she was like, this is the reason why fertility rates are down. And we're like, no, but you asked for this. Like, you wanted equality. Yeah. You know, you can't call when it's good for you and when it's not. Like,
and that's what women, and that's typically what women like to do that don't have a man. Like, single women love to do that. They love to be like all things. I'm all things. I'm this, I'm bad, I'm strong, I'm boss, I pay my bills. Like, who gives a shit, you know? Mm-hmm. But like, I watched that same video, and what had happened is the girl was like, or the woman said, you're not gonna let me sit down. He said, do you believe in equality? Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, yeah. And he was like, fuck you. Because if it was a dude, I'm not getting up for a dude. Yeah. That was what it was. And like, and it's like, well, no, not, you don't believe in equality then. She should have said, no, I do not. And then he would be like, okay, sit down.
And for the ladies,
you know what I mean? Like, how hard is that?
For the ladies that are watching, I know there's some ladies in here that aren't that way, you know, so I want you to understand that I know it's difficult to hear some of these things about your gender, but one of the things that's beneficial for me, that's helped me, is to disconnect, because if you don't do it, that doesn't mean that the exception is the rule, right? If the majority of women are doing something, you can't go, well, this is wrong, you shouldn't be able to say this. No, we have to be talking about what is. And so kind of disconnect from it. If you're not doing that, if you're not doing these things to men, good, keep that up. But now encourage other women. Find a way to use your voice to encourage them, because we need more of that.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting how the narrative is like, I watched this woman that was a divorce counselor or whatever. And she was like, you know what she said? Never believe the woman. She was like, they come here and they become from a counselor. Well, because she said she learned over time that all the things that they were saying were false. And she was like, over time, you get to the point where you're like, all you women are the same. And it's like, because a woman gets so emotionally hurt, they want to hurt you in every way, hurt a man every way. And it goes away from the problem to now make it everything. Right. You know, and it's like I remember I was with the girl when I was out in LA. And she cheated on me, and I found out, I caught her, and I'm like, that's it, you know, and like, you're stupid. And then I told her what I thought, and that was it, right?
It's crazy.
Get this.
It's crazy to me that loyalty used to be like the bare freaking minimum. And now that's like, if somebody's loyal, that's like, what do you mean? That's bare minimum.
And let me say this too, she was older than me. So I'm like, you fucked up. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, again, but then it's like, that's why people are like, oh, why would you go for a younger girl? I'm like, well, I'd rather deal with the problems from a younger girl, just like an older one, but they're younger.
You're gonna have the same problems.
Yeah, it's like, do I want fucking problems from a new car or problems from an old car?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
that upsets women when men say that, but I mean, it is rational.
Well, you know, here's the deal. So she cheats on me. I told her how I felt, and that was it, right? Mm-hmm. And then another girlfriend of mine saw her at the gym, like, you know, a week later, and she was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And, you know, and my friend was like, she's like, I just want you to know that, you know, Aaron, you know, abused me, you know. What? Yeah. And that's what she was like, oh, yeah. And she was like, oh yeah, how so? She was like, well, you know, he just, and she didn't really have nothing to say. She goes, no, you just said he was abusive. She's like, he told me you cheated on him. So how is he? Well, some of the things he said were real abusive. And he was like, I'm pretty sure he's entitled to say whatever he wanted to you because you cheated on him. And then she was like, and then she quit going to the gym. Wow. So my one girlfriend stood up for me, you know, and put her right in her spot. But that's women. Like, it's not okay to lie and make that lie and try to get me. That's not okay. Like I've told women, like, I've had conversations with women and they'll be like, narcissist. And I'm like, wait a second, stop. Weren't you just telling me that you wanted me to like check on them or call them? Like, how can he be a narcissist, but then you're asking me to check on him? Why are they never narcissists in the relationship, but after you break up with them, now they're narcissists? Well, especially when you find out that girl was cheating for months and the fucking guy didn't know, and they break up, and then it's like they try to build this thing out like, oh, it was all this shit, and like it's just really sickening, like, because it goes as far as like women will say this guy raped me or something like that. And I think the way it should work personally is if you do that and you find out that wasn't the case, then I think she should be punished by the same criminal charges and go to prison for it. Because like you don't get to just say, oh, okay, we proved it wrong. Lucky for him. There's dudes that have gone to prison. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I just think that this whole idea of women not having to be accountable, like women typically are not accountable. This is where
society doesn't hold them accountable. Society doesn't hold them accountable. And trust me, when guys get frustrated about women not being accountable, they do have consequences. Like, do not think for 1 second that they do not have. But unfortunately, we want to see, like, whenever somebody's wronged us, we want to see that like instantly. Like, we want to see them suffer like we suffered, or we want to see them have the same issues. And usually they end up dealing with those issues like 10 years, 20 years down the road.
That's not the same. I don't care.
But it happens. It happens. It's just patience. That's why I always say, like, don't try to bring revenge on bad fruit that's already going to fall. Like, it's going to fall. People who wrong you, they're going to wrong somebody else.
It's like karma's a bitch.
Same thing. Yeah. Same philosophy.
Well, I guess I look at it like this, like when it comes to accountability, like, this is a quality that women just do not possess. If you do, you're a fucking unicorn.
Well, look at that girl you met the other day. What was she, 30, living at her mom? Like, that's their accountability.
Listen, and that's where the
look
thing,
at their life.
And the argument is, if a dude was living with mom at 30, he's a fucking loser. But a chick is like, oh, it's no big deal.
Or they marry some guy that they're not even attracted to, that just promises them whatever, and they never give him sex, and he's miserable, and they're in a miserable marriage. That's accountability too. Like, there's gonna be something. Like, a lot of these women kick the can down the road, find the guy who promises them what they want, but they're not really interested in. That's why you hear, and they're like, that's why, like, men will tell me, why is it that I liked her when she was single without kids, and then she gets a kid and divorced, and now she's calling my phone? Like, that's how these girls operate. They wait till something happens, and they're like, oh shit, how can I fix this? But by then it's too late.
One of it's in some ways it's great the way things have like kind of changed and evolved, because like if you're a 1% guy, you literally have lots of options. But it's hard for any man to be that, and you don't have to be a 1% guy, but you want to be something that's a real value.
I think for the men that are watching, like, there's a lot of different ways to be the 1%, right? Like, I have met guys who are 1% in their height, okay?
Sure.
But maybe they're not 1% in their bank account. But you have to find what works for you, what makes you stand out, and then you have to work around that. But I think the most important thing is really understanding men and women and how they think. Like, once you can understand the dynamic, then it will help you understand them better and also help you attract better.
Here's what I don't get. Why do some women care so much how tall a guy is when they're not ever going to have kids? And they don't want to get married to him.
Because it's the illusion of protection, right? So when a guy is tall and taller than her, it's this feeling of like, it's a feeling. Remember, they're slaves to their emotions. It's a feeling of like, I'm protected, It's also socially more acceptable. Like, oh, look at who women love to, when other girls are like, damn, who's that? Like, that will make a girl instantly want to date somebody. Like, they care what other women think. I don't think people understand that women really do care what other people think a lot.
Yeah, but then here's the deal. I've even had it on the flip side where this girl was cute, talked to her a little bit. She was with some of her friends, and it's going all right, in my opinion, just whatever is it, we're out. And then she said, like, to my buddy or something, like, oh, whatever, that guy has such a big ego. He has all the girls hitting on him all the time. Like, fuck that. And then my buddy was like, but he likes you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You don't want the guy with all the options now?
Yeah.
Now you don't want the guy with options. Like, you can't fucking win, ladies. You can't fucking win.
Well,
you don't want the guy that has fucking 0 options. You want the guy that has his pick. You know what I mean? Like, figure it out. Like, what the fuck do you want?
They like the guy with options, but they're afraid of being cheated on. They're afraid of the guy, like, mistreating them. Like, women do think about these things. That's why they put looks. Listen, women put money at like the top, like security provisionings at the very, very top.
Oh yeah.
And then everything else kind of follows suit, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they're focusing on. And if a guy has like great looks and that's his main thing that he can provide, but everything else she's gonna go with the guy that might be able to provide more and might not look.
Of course. And
it's how they rank.
I get that, but what I think is this. I think that girl has poor self-esteem, okay? And I think
there's a lot of confidence issues.
I think that the confidence levels weren't level.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, like,
that's why it's disrespectful to be out of shape in your relationship.
Yeah.
Because that confidence, that insecurity erodes the entire relationship.
Yeah, and I don't know. So I only brought that up because it's like, you know, guys, don't fucking worry at all about what a woman tells you she wants or she thinks or she's attracted to. Don't even fucking worry. Don't listen to that at all. Just show her. Like, this is it. Yeah. Because, like, that's really what they want. Like, women, you ask a woman what they want, they'll go, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll sit here and listen to a chick and I'm like, what's your last boyfriend do?
Yeah.
None of those things? Okay, what did the guy do before that do? None of those things?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so this is your idea,
why
but you date this. And so here's the other thing. And I'm going to say this, ladies. I'm going to say this. Like me personally, being a 1% guy, when I find out you dated a real piece of shit, like, that's a turnoff. I'm like, whoa, you can't just jump right over here to me. I'm like, whoa, no, I like this. Well, you can't. Like that's a fucking thing, because I'm like, your level is here. So I drag you all the way up the mountain, you know, and I'm fucking taking you to the trailer park. Is that what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, you can't have just like you know what I'm saying? Like, because then guess what? After she dates me, guess what? I dated that motherfucker.
Well,
you see that mother.
Women have a hard time going
motherfucker
backwards,
right there.
So whatever they get used to, they can't go backwards. Just remember that. That's very difficult.
Well, I got it, but when you're fucking backwards is fucking down subpar, you know? And it's like, it's just, I don't know if any dudes are talking about that, but I will say this from my perspective. Ladies, when I find out that you dated somebody that's just like a fucking pile of shit, it's a turnoff. I can't help but be like, because it paints a picture. That's why I'd rather there be no thoughts about dudes before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to know these people. You know, I don't ever want to fucking meet them and bump into them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why, like, men don't really like a promiscuous woman.
And that's right. And that's why this becomes full circle what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And so, you know, and I think that when it comes to, like, why do women like a fucking bad boy or whatnot, is it's usually just like this attitude thing of like, I really don't give a shit what you think. And chicks like that because that comes with like assertiveness and strength and security and power and all that. But there's also the chase that's attached to it because he's like, doesn't care about her either.
So let me, what would you give a guy? Like, I talk to a lot of, you know, people in relationships doing sessions with them and whatnot. And one thing has been clear with men in the dating sphere is that when they were not looking for a relationship, they had lineup of women. Like, when they didn't care, they had a lineup. All of a sudden, as soon as they wanted a relationship and they cared, it was like, it went dry on them. So what would you tell a guy, like, what happens to a guy when he's starting to look versus when he's not looking? He cares more, obviously.
Don't look.
Okay, so what do you suggest that they do?
Crush it. Fucking
and how?
How? In your fucking work, in your body, in your social environment. Like, go be the fucking man. And then when the right chick, there's nothing more attractive to a woman than a man on the rise. Man on the rise. So all you guys that are listening out there, maybe you're fat, maybe you don't make any fucking money, you know what I mean? Maybe you're both of those things, okay? But guess what? If you just decide, I'm gonna get fucking shredded, you're gonna start walking different, you're gonna start talking different, you're gonna start having different habits. People are gonna start treating you different. You're gonna start feeling different. And then there's gonna be women around you that notice this in your social environment, at work, at the gym, at the bar, wherever you're going all the time. They're gonna see that. And you're gonna have like this energy about you that they want. Because see, a woman that wants a guy that's a top gun, a 1%, they would rather have the guy on the rise when they see it, because they feel like if I'm with him now, I'll have the security that I was with him before and we built this together. But if you just try to go right to the top for a 1% that has his pick, you know, she knows that she's just gonna probably get tossed in the mix, and there's not as much of a bond there because you didn't go through the struggles and things like that. So what I would tell you guys, I don't give a shit where you're starting from. Like, get in shape. Stop fucking eating, all right? Eat fucking protein, dude. It's not hard. Like, get your abs out.
Donuts
just stop eating.
In the bed.
Just eat fucking right. Or stop eating altogether. One of the two. You know, go to the gym. These are things you can do: push-ups and sit-ups every day, not eat, and your fucking physique will change. Like, if you can't do this, you have no discipline. What I say all the time: discipline is my superpower, and it can be yours too. That's what I wear on my bracelet all day long. Right here, it says, super style, discipline is my superpower, okay? And I say it over and over again. So for all you guys out there trying to figure out how to get a chick, don't worry about the chick. Just get badass, and the girls will just come running.
Well, and that's why women like bad boys, because when the guy is not paying attention to them and giving them attention, they want to find out how to get his attention. It's a chase. It's the thrill of the chase. They're into that emotion. Remember, they're slaves to their emotion. So if they see a guy who's not being different than every other guy, they're used to guys coming at her. So when he's the guy who's focused, determined on his goals, not chasing her, she's going to find a way to chase him.
Yeah. So you're right. And so that's it. You don't look for a relationship because a man, you know, can chase a girl and lose all his money. But if you chase a job, you're never going to lose a chick. Yeah. You know, you're going to get more all the time because like women want security. So it's so funny because like I've been jacked my entire life. Okay. I was most muscles in high school and shit and voted most handsome.
Yeah,
and
you've always,
these things. I've always been dialed
That's
in.
why I laugh when like people come at us like with stupid shit. Like, what are you taking and all that? No, like you could look at us when we were young and we always had a fit body. All of us.
I mean, I take testosterone.
I was in the gym at 8, you know.
Test is best. Anyway, moving on. But here's the thing. Once I started making money. Yeah. Hey, you want to go to Europe? You want to go over here? You want to go over there? What girl's going to say no to the guy that's all clack, 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 fucking got it going on, paying for everything? Like, what chick's saying no to that?
Clack, clack, clack.
Hey, no girl's saying no to that. I mean, who's saying no? You know, you want to hang out with a fucking fat guy that's going to do that? You want to hang out with the fat guy? You know? You know what I mean? And so, like, money, obviously, is the main thing. But you can have abs for free. It just takes a little discipline. It takes discipline to make money, too. But, you know, that's the... Yeah. That would be the goal.
So let's look over the questions before we head out. Right. So we got anything else before we head out? I hope this was valuable to you guys. We're going to try to do this more often, definitely. So if you liked it, make sure you head on over to one of my posts and drop some suggestions in or what you would like to see next time.
What about this one? This is interesting. Short-term sexual strategy versus long-term sexual strategy. Like, what does that mean? To get laid? Is that what we're talking about? What do you think it means?
So they're basically just saying there's a different strategy for both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is true.
No, moving on. What else we got here? This is why the absolute best type of girl to marry is the girl next door. What do you say to that?
So I guess he's bringing up the fact that when women, you know, most good wives are homebodies. That's what he means by that. Like, they're going to be home chilling. They're going to be happy with like watching a movie. They're not going to want to be at the clubs. That's what he means by like that, like the girl next door.
Okay. What about this one? Here we go.
Because you can always like, I talk about this sometimes on Twitter, like the ugly duckling syndrome makes the best wives because they're actually very pretty, but they don't know that they're pretty. And you can do a lot of things with a girl who's a plain Jane. Like, you know, we tend to compare what we see on social media, but a lot of these girls have a lot done. You know, like if you take away the makeup, you take away the extensions, you take away all that stuff, she's going to be the plain Jane, you know? And so I just think like, find the girl who doesn't put her capabilities around how she looks.
Well, I think 50 Cent said it best. If all a woman has is her looks, she's going to do some hoe shit. You know what I mean? So what you're trying to say is she's got a personality, a connection,
you can't
a
just
real
simply
person,
exist.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
I'm a strong independent. I pay my bills and I don't need no man. Oh, so you're just being a responsible adult. Exactly.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Like you don't hear men going, oh, you know, I pay my own bills. I'm an independent man, right? No, but you hear women doing it. And the funny thing is, like we talked about this. I talked about this with my husband. Like, you need a plumber? I'm by myself. I don't need a man, right? But then all of a sudden your toilet breaks or your plumbing breaks. Now you're calling a man,
or
right?
your car breaks down.
You're calling a man.
You need a tow truck?
You're calling a man.
Is there a chick coming with a tow truck?
Calling a man.
Hang on, who's picking up the trash? What people do pick up the trash out
Or the
there?
OnlyFans girl.
Yeah.
I don't need no man.
Oh, really?
You depend on men for your money. You need men.
What's this?
2,000 people watch.
I don't know if you guys see YouTube stream shit. I most of this.
I'm from Brazil. Hey, from Brazil. I know there's a lot of people like from all over. I love to hear this, like where all you guys are from. Is that guy your husband? This is my brother, guys. This is not my husband, okay? My husband is a tall guy as well, but he hates social media.
He doesn't like to do
with
the
a
social
passion.
media stuff.
With a passion.
He's actually taller than I am.
Yeah.
Fucking giant.
Yeah. It's so funny. We'll go out, like we went out to dinner last night, and guys are more infatuated than women with my husband and my brother. Like they're like stopping by the table. What do you guys do? Like, it's so funny. I'm just like sitting back, you know, watching it all go down. Like we'll go to Arnold or Olympia and like I'm the cameraman. I'm always behind the scenes.
It's so fucked up. Like, you guys don't want a photo with her? I'm like,
no, they want the picture with him. It's so funny. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Like
I like being behind the camera. I really.
You do a great job of both. You're a great.
I actually prefer behind.
I just like that you're a team player and you don't get all fucking in your feelings.
Yeah,
I
don't like the attention. People think I do, but I do it for what I have to do.
Gia is not
He's
an
the one that
attention-hungry
tries to
person.
push me. He's like, you got to do more content. I'm like, I don't want to do more content.
Trying to get
He's like, you got to get on. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I'm cool at home, cooking, cleaning.
Yeah, she's kind of a homebody, you know?
Yeah,
I'm like, you need to go on more fucking trips and do more
I'm like,
shit,
nah,
you know?
don't like the airports.
I don't like airports either. That's why I'm trying to make enough money. My own jet. We're about to wrap this up here.
You guys see how big he is when you see how small I am.
Ferlin just came in here. We have a little pose down at the fucking...
No, I look like a toddler.
Whatever, man. Doing good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's about a wrap. Let's say hi. This is our friend Ferlin here.
Yeah.
What's going on? What brings you to...
Nothing. I was in the neighborhood. Stopped by. I have a free day. Taking my daughter's car to get tinted.
Okay.
Doing daddy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing much, man. I just turned 51.
Whoa, wow.
Happy
You look fucking
birthday.
great.
Gotta say happy birthday to this guy.
Listen, 51 years old. So I started doing like facial creams and stuff now.
Oh, shit.
Hey.
Fuck it, dude.
Yeah, bro. Nothing, man. Just enjoying life, working hard, driving cars. You know, Gia knows that's what I love.
Okay.
But other than that,
Yeah, he's got some really cool cars.
Yeah.
Like if you like muscle cars and stuff,
Well,
he's
we'll
into
do-
the car clubs.
Well, we're going to do it. I think we should wrap this thing up, Gia. I think we've been on here long enough as
why
it
is my
is.
chair so? I mean, I know you're.
It was
tall.
her chair. It was her chair.
It was my. He doesn't like feeling small.
Well, no, everyone feels small next to him.
Yeah, everybody.
Me and this guy used to compete back
It's
in the
been
day.
great.
It was great.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure, all the wonderful bits of wisdom I gave you, go ahead and write that down. Right? Put it up on the fucking wall. And make sure you eat right, train hard, stay focused.
The world's tallest bodybuilder.
Don't be a fucking sissy.
Shit, I like that.